Okay, hello. So here we are again. This is video 1 part B of Capstone class. So this video is going to be pretty short. I just want to give kind of like a general overview of the kinds of activities that we are going to be doing in the course of this course. And there will be significantly more information forthcoming about all of these things, but I just want to say something about it to the start so that we have something in our heads for it. The main component, this may shock you, of the Capstone course is in fact the Capstone project. The Capstone is going to be it'll be individually tailored to each one of you. There will be a general guideline and a general sort of like rubric that you can follow. But you as an individual will have a lot of, pretty much free reign on what the topic and content of the project will be. And I'm even willing to be very flexible about like what the, if you have a crazy idea, just let me know. And there will be basically checkpoints to it. Again, I'll talk more about that at a later video. But rather than having sort of rigid deadlines, there will more be a expected trajectory of what the Capstone project is going to look like. The end result of the Capstone project is going to be a document of some kind. But there will be checkpoints along the way and other artifacts, I think we'll say, that you can sort of take with you. There'll be plenty more guidance about the nitty gritty and the content and the structure of that, but not for now. Just it'll be some kind of a paper document with citations, which will be managed through a citation management software. Specifically, we're going to be using Zotero, and some of y'all may have already learned how to use EndNote, but EndNote's like gross proprietary software, and Zotero is free and open source, so we're using Zotero. You can do whatever you want. In general, for this course, there's going to be a lot of like tooling and like different methods and mechanisms for like interacting with this course. Like, so this is Markdown and VS Code, and there's this fun stuff we can do with that. My video's covering, but who cares? You don't have to use this. I'm going to recommend you use it. There's going to be advantages to using it. I will show you how to use it. The bot will show you how to use it. It will benefit you to use it, but you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. And if you prefer to use Google Docs, if you prefer to write Microsoft Word, you can go ahead and do that. And we'll make it work. There will be some things. We'll get into tools and methods and softwares and stuff in the future. But the only tool you're required to use for this course is the Discord server. And that's mostly because that's going to be the way that we communicate and the way that we sort of like share stuff. Other than that, it's just sort of, there's going to be assignments, on a general trajectory, and your job will just be to sort of get those done in whatever method you prefer to get them done. So the default plan for the Capstone project will be to write an NIH style grant proposal. The idea there is that you would be writing something sort of similar to the kinds of things that you would be writing applying for a research grant. But of course, you're not really going to be applying for it. I understand this as a project. I think it's a good sort of mechanism for teaching students various things. But it always feels strange to me to just like write a fake grant. Like it's just like there's other ways to write about. I'll cut that out. Like I don't need to talk shit about other people's assignments. I do get it. But basically, like the idea is that you want to get training in the sort of the headspace of like finding an intellectual space that you're interested in, a general topic. It could be neuroscience, it could be movement, it could be osteoarthritis, it could be some piece of biology that I don't actually know anything about. And and sort of understanding what the landscape of that intellectual space is in terms of like, what do we know? Like, so say we're talking about oculomotor control in people with Huntington's disease. And so we want to understand, what do we know about oculomotor control? What does that word even mean? It's eye movements. What do we know about eyes? What do we know about vision? What's the evolution of it? Like, how does it bear in? And there's this thing called Huntington's disease. That's a neuroscience disorder. It's a neurodegenerative disorder. It's got something to do with movement. I think there's basal ganglia involved. Like, there's all these, any topic you want to pursue, there's a lot of stuff around it. And a big part of the capstone is going to be learning to navigate an intellectual landscape, in order to sort of get a sense of like, what do we know about this thing? What do humans as a group know about this topic? And a part of that exploration will necessarily involve finding a gap. That's always the most important part of any grant is the unofficial gap statement, which is the part where you say, here's all the things that we know. Here's the thing we don't know. And the fact that we don't know that thing, that's a problem for us. That's a problem for us as a species. And if we could fill that gap, oh my Lord, imagine the perfect, beautiful future that could arrive. That's how you write a grant. And so as an assignment, it's I think, a good way to sort of structure your brain around the concept of being like an actual researcher, like a proper researcher, instead of like not that you aren't real researchers as students, but like a lot of the way that we handle undergraduate education is like fake work. Like, you do assignments that aren't real, and then we give them a grade and move on with our lives. And I've never liked that. And this course is intended to start building you towards a space where like, you're actually finding the gaps and you're actually working on it. And it takes you longer than a semester. It takes you longer than a year. It takes you longer than a decade. It takes you longer than a lifetime. I went on a rabbit hole there. But the point is you're going to do a capstone, and it's going to be great. And maybe it'll be an NIH-style grant proposal. Maybe it'll be a research paper. If you have in your time and capacity and experience the ability to collect, record, analyze data, you can do a research paper. That's a pretty tall order to be done in one semester, but you can do it. I'll support it, and you can make a decision now, and you can pull out of it later, and we can tweak and adjust as we go. That's going to be a whole part of the thing. Thinking on our feet, formative pedagogy. Actually, formative andragogy, because pedagogy is the teaching of children. And y'all are adults now. And part of being an adult is people stop holding your hand as you cross the street. So we're going to do our best, and we're going to figure it out as a group. In addition to the core project. So the capstone is your core project. That's the main path. That's the thing that you as an individual need to finish. And again, you will not be, it is dangerous to go alone. We will have tools that will assist you to make sure that you stay on path and stay on track and in addition to that, parallel to that, broader scope than that, there will also be a variety, actually smaller scope than that. There will also be a bunch of other little assignments that I'm going to be assigning to you in order to generally sort of facilitate your particular path, both in terms of your ability to maintain your own progress towards your own capstone, as well as my project, which is to make this course have some degree of internal coherence. I will be seeking to find groups of people in this class who are working on similar topics and who might be able to help each other out with their topics. You will also be working to do peer reviews for each other, sort of like pointing your eyes at your peers' works and sort of giving them assistance. There's going to be a lot of AI generated text in this class that you're going to be generating yourself, and you're going to be sort of generating for others. A big part of that is a big part of working with AI is you got to read it. You can't just have it pump something out and think it's going to be good, because it usually isn't. But it's a very powerful tool if it's used correctly. And part of how we're going to be wrangling the sort of the secondary aspects of this course will be designed to help facilitate you as an individual and as a class in doing substantive work that has this sort of that works on multiple levels, where you're working as an individual, but you're also working collectively. And your job as an individual within this collective is to do the individual work and, you know, all the assignments and whatnot that I'll be giving you. And then my job as the sort of custodian, steward of this group is to maintain that broader scale context and to sort of make sure that the individual work that you're doing is sort of in context producing a larger scale project. So as you guys write a capstone, I will be creating a meta capstone. And part of the vibe of how hierarchy works is that you don't have to worry about that broader scale structure. I'll be doing my best to let you know what it is as we go, but it is not your responsibility to worry about that stuff. So just, you know, follow along, do your part, and bask in the complexities of understanding yourself as an individual person as well as a member of a group, collective and group. Yeah, a lot of these. So Capstone, be talking more about the structure of that and the specifics of that in the coming week or so. And for the individual assignments, I'll be announcing those roughly weekly. I don't really know. Sort of like this is part of the thinking on our feet part. Like we're going to be doing stuff in service of what serves the project. And so I'm not going to sort of promise that it's going to be like, oh, we're going to have one assignment a week. Because I will be sort of actively adjusting the strategy on the basis of what the group is doing. So mostly just keep an eye out. I'll make posts in Discord. I will make posts on Canvas, and I will sort of link them together. So just keep an eye out for announcements on those two places, and you should be fine. Bureaucratically, there's not really going to be like, I will put like due dates on the assignments, mostly just to keep people like roughly working in step with each other. If you miss a deadline, just do it later. Like there's no penalties for late assignments or whatever. There's not really grades. It's just check boxes. So as long as you check all the boxes, you've done the course. But it benefits you, and it definitely benefits me if you follow the deadlines that I've laid out. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to call it for this video here, and then I'll come back for a third video and outline assignment number 1, introduction, talking to the bot.